Hey everyone, it's No Money Let's Talk podcast episode 2. I'm Minnie, your host for today. Here we have Vivian
Hello.
and Jason.
Sup.
And today, our honored guest is Zoe.
Oh, hi.
So Zoe here is she made these clay earrings, if you can see.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice you were wearing them. Oh, that's so sweet. I didn't see
Damn.
Wow.
Let me take a closer look.
Something customized.
Oh,
Can
it's-
you see it? Vivian, last time you mentioned to me that you're looking for earrings, right? So here I am, introducing Zoe to you.
Oh.
Could you tell us more about how you made them and your business?
I think before I say that, I think I have to tell you like how I started it. How I started it was really random. Was because I didn't even know about polymer clay until like last year, May. But the moment I saw it, I kind of just fell in love with it. So the reason why I started it wasn't to make money, which is why sometimes when people refer it to my business, I get a little bit uncomfortable because I don't see it that way. But it is what it is. I didn't go into this thinking like, oh, it's gonna be my part of my career, or this is gonna be my source of income. It was never like that. It started because, well, two things happened at once, I guess. Like one was because I took a break from my degree. I took one semester off when the pandemic hit last year in March. And I had been at home at that point for 2 months then. I think that was April. So a month of rotting at home. And then I was just wondering like, oh my gosh, what can I do with my life? I need to learn something new before my brains just become, I don't know, cotton. And then I go back to my degree and it's just like useless. So I need to keep occupied. That was one thing. The second thing was that I was really inspired by this friend of mine. She has an art account of her own, and she had been using it to raise awareness for women who were suffering from domestic abuse. And so she sold her art, and like 10 or 15% of the earnings went to organizations that supported women like that. So she donated to organizations like ISTHMUS, if you guys know it. It's basically for women that are suffering from domestic abuse. So she collected all these data, raised awareness, donated her earnings. And I was just like, that is so inspiring. And I wanted to do the same for what I cared about, which was for children and also for women who were suffering from the pandemic, because the rates rose so much more. Suicidal calls came. Yeah, the rates for those calls were rising. So when I saw those numbers, I just thought, okay, I'm not doing anything, and I feel like if I can, I should. And then at the same time, I stumbled onto polymer clay on Twitter, out of all places. I saw this girl. She made this thing where what we call a slab of art, which is basically a clay slab, and then you have like art on top of it. And then it was really pretty, and so I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then coincidentally, her name was Zoe also. And then I was just like, if this isn't a sign, I don't know what it is. And so I just did a quick Google search about it, and I just was like, oh, they are selling this in Malaysia, and there's like an entire website for this clay stuff, like called Malaysia Clay Art. So I was like, okay, it's very cheap. So if I mess up now, it's with the cheap clay. At least it's not like I'm gonna sell it yet. I just want to try it out. So I completely did it out of fun and boredom. And so I ordered some like really small slices just because I don't know where it was gonna go, and they were like 6 ringgit per piece for like 100 grams or something. And I bought white, and I bought some colorants, 24 ringgit for a 24 color set. So it was really cheap. That was my beginning. I practiced with that. And then it took me like 2 months to gather up the courage and be like, okay, maybe people will actually buy this. we can try, and it's for a good cause. So friends will definitely support it, I'm sure. And I made it to like 50%. So basically I made nothing for the first 3 months maybe, because I continued with that 50% thing for the entire time. So the other 50% went into buying more like clay and colorants. Yeah, and the metal parts of the earrings as well. So I virtually made nothing for the first 3 months, but I didn't make a loss. Yeah, which was a real big blessing, honestly.
So even.
Yes, I did actually. And even then I told myself like, okay, even if you make a loss, it's not really a loss because I'm doing this for what I want it to be, and that was not to make money, and that was to help the kids that were suffering because they couldn't go to school. They already couldn't. Okay, the kids that I was helping were refugees in the first place, and if you guys know this, Malaysia doesn't recognize refugee rights because they didn't sign the UNHCR agreement. So Malaysia is not one of the countries that recognize the rights. So very pitiful. And so these kids were on the bottom of the barrel. So I've been supporting that organization, Dignity for Children, until today. Yeah.
So it all started as like an interest you saw on Twitter, and then you continued to play around with it, and then you insisted until now for a good cause.
Yeah, but I did lower the donation amount to 10 to 15% because I'm investing in much better raw material now because I can afford it now. Also because there was a period of time where I couldn't teach at the same time. So I also tutor, but during the pandemic, the family that I have been tutoring for like 3 years, I think they couldn't afford it anymore. So they stopped my services. And so I was without income for a while. So I was like, okay, I can't keep putting in everything now. So I lowered it to 10 to 15%. Yeah, for donations. Yeah.
I also saw on your Instagram profile, right, OK Art, that you started is it using recycled items to make the better, what do you call that?
The cards. My friend and I started out with recycled paper just for fun. I texted my friend, who is also a really artsy guy, and he lived quite nearby, and we have a space where we can do this. So we started out with recycled paper. So basically, I just took all of my old A-level notes. I was wondering, like, what should I do with all this hard work? You know, I can just chuck it away. I just like my heart is breaking. So I was like, okay, why not make it into something else then, I guess. So that's how it started. I started ripping it up. Oh, that was a painful process too. But after making it into these, I was like, that's really nice. And I was already writing like thank you notes for people and for those who buy from me. So I handwrite my thank you notes and stuff, right? And then like I realized a lot of the times people were buying for their friends or their family as gifts. They always requested for a card that was specifically for them. So I was like, okay, why not I try to make this sticker and make it into a card? And that resulted in these. That's my motto. But yeah, so they became like colorful cards that are really thick. So these are the colors so far. So they're all dyed by either flower petals or just old manila cards that were colored, which results in these colors. The pink ones are my favorite because they're dyed from the flower, bougainvillea. And, beautiful colors. So yeah, they became recycled cards. Also helping my friend because he's starting to sell these cards. And now I'm buying from him. I kind of like delegated that to him. Like, okay, you make the cards. I'll give you back whatever I get from selling them. So it's kind of like I'm a platform for him now.
So
That's so nice of you, actually.
Yeah. So how long do you take to make those cards actually?
The cards? They don't take very long actually. Once you know what you're doing, it takes so little time. The beginning, when we were making the paper, it took so long because we didn't know what we were doing. There's a process. It's actually quite easy. So you take 2 photo frames, you empty out the glass and everything, then you put the wire gauze on top, you screw it in, and then you use that as like a sieve to take the paper pulp out of the water. So it's like smooth and everything.
Wow.
The hard part is drying it and placing that on top to a sheet and then ironing it to make it smooth. That takes practice. You need to also make sure each piece is evenly thick instead of one being too thin or one being too thick. And so it took us a long time to figure it out, but we have. And yeah, to make a batch, it really depends on how many you want to make. So it's flexible that way. You can save the pulp. That's the best thing about it, is like you can keep it in a jar and then you just pour it into water when you want to use it. So depending on how many you want to make, you can just pour it out and make it. But I would say about 2 hours maybe to make like 30 cards.
How about the clay art jewelry though, like earrings and
Mhm.
necklaces? Can you explain the brief process of making
Okay.
earrings?
Yeah, so specifically for earrings, they've taken a lot less time now. Before, especially for yours, yours took a long time. Only because I didn't have any cutters back then. I was very frugal about unnecessary things. So I refused to buy clay cutters. I was like, okay, I can shape these with my fingers. It's fine. I can make them symmetrical as much as I can without having to buy those cutters and stuff, right? A pair would probably, if I don't stop working, aggregate amount of time would probably be 3 hours-ish, including hand mixing the colors and not including the designing, because that takes a long time for me because I am not the best at drawing. Ironic.
No, that's a lie. That's a lie. Guys,
No,
can
I
check
find
out
it
the
takes me a
Instagram
lot
page.
more time than it should. That's the problem.
You draft the design beforehand, like on paper, before you started everything.
Yeah. So until I figured out that I could use my mom's tablet to just pull out the shapes myself and not have to hand draw the shape, it took a long time. So now I know how to use the tablet. I can just do like a circle and like it's perfectly a circle, and then I could just draw whatever it is on top. It takes less time compared to before. It took me a while to figure that out.
After designing and then shaping it, you bake it, is it?
Mhm.
Before.
So yes, that takes like 20-25 minutes depending on the size and the thickness.
So being a follower of Oakley art, I also noticed the price is quite affordable for such unique designs. May I know that you receive huge orders sometimes? And if
Yes.
you huge orders, right?
Mhm.
Like around how long time you take to finish them and how you manage to finish them while you have your tutoring job and other stuff.
Okay, well, large orders is like a relative term, but for me, large means more than 3 per person. Because like I have to individually design each unless they've already picked something that I've made before. That would make my job so much easier because I don't have to do like research or like references on what kind of flowers or patterns that they want, or if it's intricately designed sculpture instead of earrings, then I have to figure out, do I need to insert a wire inside so that it's stronger and it doesn't break? And like there's like lots of things that go into it. As for how I manage it is really just scheduling my time really well. I rely on Notion, just remind me of everything that I need to do and dedicate a space of time for each priority. And so that really helps to fit in things. I personally don't think that you're ever too busy for something. It's just like how you manage your time. And there are, of course, like, sacrifices here and there, but again, priorities. So, yeah.
So just want to ask, right? Is there the most memorable custom piece that you did for your client, like the most memorable design?
Oh man. Okay, I'm actually working on it right now. So for me personally, usually not earrings, because earrings they're pretty, but I would like to do more than that. And one of it is like art pieces. So I don't know if you can see. Right now it's just a weird background color, but all this is made of clay. So I've tried to do it in like a watercolor kind of effect, and this is going to be done for a kid. So like the mom ordered it from me, and she wants to hang like a little frame in her house. It's basically like a Bible verse and stuff. But there's another one that just Oh yeah, that would be memorable. Sorry, this is just special to me because emotionally I'm like connecting with it. But this one, someone paid 500 ringgit for an art piece that I did. It's on my page. It's the first ever art piece that was asked of me to do. Like I customized an actual painting, clay painting, and I remember charging it at like 120 ringgit. But even then, it was like, oh my gosh, this is like the best work I've ever done at that point. And I was like, I'm actually getting so much more than I usually charge, and I'm like, I already felt bad at first. I was like, oh, I'm not sure how to charge this because I have no experience, and even then, the money doesn't really matter so much to me at that point. And all I was thinking about was like, wow, I'm so happy with this piece, and like it's amazing. I can't believe I did this. And then like when the guy asked me for the account number, I gave it to him. And then the next thing I know is I see this notification that said 500 ringgit, and I thought like my eyes, I thought that I missaw like a zero or something, and I immediately texted the guy and I was like, did you accidentally, I can give it back to you if you want. And then he was like, oh, no, completely fine. It's exactly what I thought that you deserve and everything. And I was just in awe. And the guy took it to be professionally framed. And it literally has my name on it in like a silver plate and stuff. And I immediately felt like, oh my gosh, this does not deserve that kind of like honor. Yeah.
Okay, but talking about like somebody like willing to overpay for your work. Okay, maybe not overpay, like pay for what it's worth, right? Like more than what you expected. Does anyone like try to negotiate or like try to ask like for discounts or stuff like that?
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Recently, especially. Even though I think like the prices are really affordable, I would say so myself, for the amount of work that goes into it and the upgraded clay and stuff, it's pretty much next to nothing, especially when I donate like 15% of it, 10% right now to Dignity. There was this one piece that I charged, like it was a ring dish. So I made it based on her requested design, right? And she said that she would order it. Now, this is the thing. I don't usually accept deposits or upfront payment just because I trust my customer. Usually, no one has ever cheated me ever. Like, it's just an experience I have to go through. So she ordered it from me. I made it. I sent a picture to her, and then she was like, "Oh, I haven't paid yet. Sorry." And she didn't want it. And the sad part was she already negotiated for a lower price, and me being like, "Oh, okay." I'll like drop the price down to like 5 ringgit or something, and then I did, and then she was like, never mind, bye. So I was like, now what do I do with this ring dish? But it's okay. I still took pictures of it and sent it out, and it's always never a loss for me because like people still see your work. They still see that you make good customizations. If you do good work, it's recognized. It's always an investment. I didn't hold it against her either. It's okay. Sometimes people change their minds, but it just taught me a lot, like to protect myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
But what if
quite-
she comes back to you and like asks, like, can I buy it from you again?
Oh well, of course I'd sell it to her because it's still with me. So I'd be really grateful if she comes back and says like she still wants it, but she hasn't yet. So
Did she nego with you again?
No. After that, she was like, after she said like, I'm so sorry, and I was like,
Oh.
oh, it's okay. I mean, not really, but it's okay. Like you can't do much in that case, right? You can't force her to buy it. So I haven't received any notifications from her since.
When customers or friends, they ask for your maybe discounts or cheaper price, like undermining the time and effort, like you mentioned just now,
Yeah.
because of some stereotype misconception about clay art. Do you have any clarifications you want to make to the audience?
How do I clarify it? So far, no one has said
Like
anything
maybe an
about it
FAQ
being heavy.
kind of thing, like a frequently asked question.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes. So ever since the cancelled order happened to me, I I made a frequently asked questions list of answers, answering all possible questions that I get asked, and this list is quite exhaustive, I would say. It includes how long does it take, and can I customize anything? Also, like, what's the price range? And how do you get the clay to me? Is it really weak? Like, is it like fragile? Because I have had like cases where it broke during shipping, which was a headache for me because I had to think like, how do I wrap this well enough so that when they toss it around, it doesn't break. I remember in the beginning, there was one time I stepped onto it just to check how strong it is. I threw it against the wall as well, just trying to imagine like, how they treat the packages.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So how do I make sure that it's strong on my side, and how do I make the packaging strong enough to protect it if I can't make it strong? So well, obviously first I upgraded the clay, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference. The only difference is they add a lot more chemicals, which is not bad. It on its own, it just makes it stronger because, like, chemistry, if you have many types of
Bonds.
polymer, and bonds it, they make it stronger together. So that's the scientific things behind it. The other thing I did was I bought more stronger boxes, and like I used bubble wrap at first, but I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be eco-friendly as well. So I found some linen pouches that were quite soft, and they can protect the earrings or whatever it is as well. So there's a lot of layers to it that's now stronger, makes it stronger. And also in like Ninja Van, I'm using their courier service now. I haven't heard of anything breaking since a long time ago. So that's great news. Yeah, that's all of that is answered in the FAQ list now. Yeah, questions like that. I get that a lot, so I don't have to answer it one by one all the time. And they know what to expect, so they can order from me without feeling worried about anything. Yeah.
So you use the linen pouch, right? Will it be very expensive?
Not really. It depends on who you buy from. So just be nice to Shopee people and establish good rapport with them, and then like a good kind like gesture can go like a long way. So yeah, you get like good quality, and then they also are willing to like supply to you at a reasonable price. So, and also don't underpay them. Just, yeah, they're really affordable, and I'm willing to pay for it, definitely, for my customers.
I realized that,
It's
right?
really fun.
You did customize product for your customer, right?
Mhm.
So what if you receive a very tough picture? So do you reject or you accept?
I haven't rejected any design yet. I always make it into a point where like, okay, let me just think about it. Give me some time to think about it, and then I'll go and then like draft it out, and then after that kind of figure out like the steps. How do I get there? And if I get stuck somewhere, then obviously I think I have to reject. But so far I haven't. I think I just kind of figured it out somehow. Very blessed to, I would say. I haven't received anything that was like ridiculously difficult to make. The one order currently I think is quite difficult. I haven't thought about it yet. Is a squirrel that somehow can balance on your mug and look like it's punching the mug. So like I still have to figure out how to do that. But
Squirrel on a mug punching your
on a mug, yeah, like on the, you know how like your mug,
Yeah.
like on it has to balance on this, and then its paw has to punch into the mug. So I'm just like, okay, this is a challenge, but I'm gonna try and figure it out. So that so far is the hardest one. I might have to reject it, but I'm not sure. But I'll think about it. Yeah, but so far, no, not yet. But if it's too difficult, of course, we'll have to. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask, right? Actually, clay art, the trend is actually in Singapore, is it?
Yes, I
It
would
started
say so.
first.
In Asia, yeah, definitely Singapore. Yep. I
Great.
think like the main trends are definitely in the UK and the US, and also Russia, strangely enough. Russian art in clay art is amazing. It's well, like everything they do. They are really like attentive to detail, and it's a very different type of art. Singapore and Malaysia, kind of. Singapore definitely a bigger trend. Yeah.
How do you promote these clay art earrings in
Mm.
social media? Because
Yeah.
since this market is quite niche, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, how do you like market it out?
It's all but word by mouth, I think. I haven't actually done anything to promote it. I haven't done any giveaways except for one like collaboration giveaway. I didn't host it myself. It was a friend of mine who bakes cookies, basically, the messy kitchen, and she offered. She's a really good friend of mine, so she was like, "Hey, Valentine's Day is coming up, so do you want to like make something like Valentine's like themed? I'll help you and do this like giveaway thing, and then like we can also do a Valentine's gift set. So like lots of like boyfriends who last minute don't think about the girlfriends. They come, they buy a set of cookies, they get a pair of earrings. So it's like a great deal. So it's also really interesting. So I ended up doing quite well for that one. That attracted quite a few more followers. But other than that, I haven't done much. I feel like the rate of orders that I receive now is pretty good with my tempo in life. I cannot do large orders right now. I can't do the ones that you probably would normally see when you see jewelry making shops. You see like, oh, they release in batches, and then like you select the I guess not a custom design, but whatever it is that the artist makes, right? I obviously don't have that kind of large customer base, so I can't sell anything I make. So that's how I survive on purely customizations. Like, because if you want something, I could make it for you. I can't expect you to buy something I make yet. So, yeah, I like the small number of orders that I get, and it still is sufficient for me to make the donations that I want, and also make a tiny bit of income for myself, which is really nice. Yeah.
Wow.
But just now you did mention, say like Valentine's Day gift set. So like, do you do anything for men? Like any
Mm.
like yeah, like for guys, anything that you do?
Yeah, I did
Jason might
think
want
about
to chase something.
that. I did. I definitely did think about that. I was thinking I could like do pictures of couples as magnets. So if they send me a picture of them, I can make like their silhouettes or something, or any kind of symbols that they want that represents their relationship, or even keychains or charms. It literally can be anything. That's why I love clay, because it's so flexible. It's not just like one thing. You can make it into a fridge magnet or a pop socket for your phone or a keychain. Yeah, literally anything. So it takes, yeah, just whatever the customer wants, I can try and make it happen, basically. So
So you
I haven't done anything like is specifically for men, but probably for couples, yes. Yeah, like as a unit. Not for, yeah, for females, obviously, jewelry, but yeah.
so if you have the opportunity, right? Like have an opportunity to set up a booth on a charity fair, will you try it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely thought about that when I was so naive to think like, okay, maybe end of 2020 pandemic would be slightly better. Maybe Christmas, there won't be anything going on anymore. Like, people can come out and celebrate Christmas or something. I don't know. And usually there at my church, we have like a really big Christmas market for people to come and visit. And like that was where a lot of charities and a lot of small businesses would come and set up their little booths and stuff. I really wanted to try that, but that required me to make it in large batches because I have
Yeah.
to sell. I can't do customizations then, and I have to stand out in terms of my own design, but also catering to the market's demand. And so I was like thinking about that a lot. When I started already, I was thinking like, could I do this during the Christmas market by then? Like it was kind of like a distant dream of mine, but obviously the pandemic was not doing. Yeah, it was still here. So I unfortunately didn't have to do it. But I think I could have because it was during my break from Monash degrees. You get like a huge 3-month break of
Yeah.
summer during the end of the year. So we basically have nothing to do unless you're doing your internship. So I definitely thought about it, but it didn't happen. So, but it was okay. I still made a lot of customizations, especially during Christmas. They wanted a lot of charms and keychains and gifts for their friends. So yeah,
Yeah,
Would
like
you do it this Christmas? This
I
year's
hope
Christmas?
so.
let's hope
I
for
hope so.
this Christmas.
I
Yeah.
hope Subway has 3 months break too.
Aww.
But I mean, I would most probably be rotting at home also. I mean, the
Oh.
fact that you thought of like doing something like 1 month into rotting, then that's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have
Come
done
from
anything
having like attention deficit, like I cannot just like sit still. So I have to have something occupying my time.
It's our honor to have you here today.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we don't even know like, I mean, we know that the value. For example, the guy who bought your painting, he definitely saw the value in your painting. Like it's worth more than you think it is.
That was
And
yeah,
pay
that
art.
was a shock.
And just now, when you mentioned to us like the whole cleanup process from designing and packaging and like experimenting with the throwing it to the wall, that one really impressed me a lot. But that is not just what you do right now as a student.
Want to know more about how Zoe embarked on a singing journey? Stay tuned to part 2. Bye.
There's been times when I thought about giving up, but I never did.